Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So much has happened since I was gone. World War III may have started, we all might be drafted. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock because Chris Rock his wife. Oh wait, she didn't Chris Rock? She only every other living, breathing male on this planet? What? Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock because he said the truth? The truth that his wife is a hideously ugly, bald blobfish that could star in the next G.I. Jane movie?
But she has alopecia. She has a condition where you can't grow hair.
Yeah, I get it, okay? My cousin has alopecia too, but she also wears a wig so that she doesn't look like he who shall not be named. Anyways, I've been trying to keep this a secret, but I have to say it now. The reason why I haven't been posting so much throughout this time span is because I'm trying to set up a podcast. And I'm not sure if it's just the fact that I, am fucking stupid, or if it's just as difficult as I think it is. But for some reason, setting up a podcast is like solving the Zodiac Killer case while being on your 4th Xanax in the last 30 minutes. What I'm trying to say is that I've been trying to set up a podcast for a really long time, and I've finally done it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to start putting out episodes of the podcast out yet, because unfortunately, I'm doing it with my girlfriend, and she has the IQ of about a fucking brain-dead squirrel. But thankfully, I have much more time on my hands, and I have all the time in the world to rant and talk shit about these stories that have happened in my life. And actually, this segues very nice into the topic of this video. This video is going to be all about how, I fucking hate my family. And for those of you who just listened to that and, in your head right now, you're like, okay, bro, it's not really funny, that's a little too far, bro. Okay, before you make a judgment on the ethical impact of killing and blowing up my family members, I just want you to listen to the story, and by the end of this story, if you still think that it's unethical to get a C4, strap it to my family members, and then blow up the C4, that is your opinion, and you're entitled to that opinion, and I respect your opinion, okay? I may respectfully disagree with you, but as long as you've seen this video, I'm gonna respect your opinion, okay? Just promise me to, please be mature, listen to me, put your personal biases and beliefs aside, and hear my argument for why it is ethical to blow up my family members into like 30 different pieces. So this story begins on Christmas. Yes, Christmas, a time that is supposed to be lovely and cheerful, and a time where you're really supposed to cherish your loved ones and cherish your family members. That is when I realized the true hatred I have for my family. So let me set this up by saying that both of my parents are no longer together. Yes, I know, it's an extremely sad tale, and I have no idea why they're no longer together anymore. However, it could be something due to the fact that they decided to keep a fucking human child after a one-night stand and not abort it. I'm not saying that that contributes to 100% of it, but I am willing to go out on a limb here and say that by keeping a baby after having a one-night stand with a random stranger, usually that doesn't go well for most relationships. What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm literally arguing right now that my parents should have aborted me. There's multiple things that I need to get sorted out in therapy. So anyways, my parents were never really together and never had a relationship to begin with, and thus I've had to celebrate Christmas with 2 different sets of families for basically my entire life. And a lot of divorced kids and kids whose parents aren't together anymore will tell you that it's a good thing that their parents are divorced and separated, because
they get so many presents on Christmas from each of their family members because they're not together anymore.
Now, I beg to differ, and no, it's not because I
want a family and I wish I had a mom and dad who loved each other.
No, it's not because of any of that shit, okay? It's because every single holiday, even goddamn fucking like St. Patrick's Day, I have to see 2 sets of fucking different family members. The last thing I want to do on Christmas is see my Aunt Tammy, who literally pulls me outside of the room to try and sell me fucking life insurance. This woman, literally in the middle of opening presents, will pull me outside of the room and be like,
Yeah, you ever think about what's gonna happen when your parents die? When your mom dies? Listen here, kid. Listen here, kid. You get life insurance. You don't have to worry about any of that. She'll be well taken care of with my company.
I swear to God, my Aunt Tammy does this to me every single year since I was like 5. And I look at her and I'm like, bitch, I'm fucking 7. Bitch, I barely know how to fucking use a toilet. You want me to sign life insurance papers? I don't think that's legal. Every single year, she rehearses a speech, and I know she rehearses the speech because every year it's the same goddamn speech that she has memorized. The same speech she probably tells innocent strangers on the street. And listen, man, Aunt Tammy is just one of the many clinically insane members of my family. Now, as I've said, I have 2 separate sides of my family, and while both of them at times do make me want to enlist in the Ukrainian military so I can get shot point blank by a Russian tank, my dad's side is just a tad bit worse than my mother's side. And so, of course, this Christmas, I was going to be spending the majority of time with my dad's side of the family. Before we even get into what happened at this Christmas event, we need to talk about my father. And now, I love my father, I do, and that's hard for me to say, okay? So, you know when I say it, I mean it. But, that being said, at times, my father makes me question my existence on this earth. And unfortunately for me, I was dumb enough to tell my own father about my YouTube channel. Now, listen, okay? Besides forgetting to clear out of a certain tab and then opening that tab in the middle of class while like 10 classmates were looking at my phone, telling my father about my YouTube channel might have been the worst mistake I've ever made, because he fucking tells every goddamn person on the earth about my YouTube channels. Like, a motherfucker could be walking his dog at like 2 a.m. and my dad will go up to him and be like, hey man, did you know that my son has a YouTube channel on YouTube? Did you know that? And I know some of you right now might be like, oh my god, that's so cute. Your dad cares about you so much. That's so cute. Oh my god, I love it. Well, no, because the shit that I'm saying on YouTube is fucking insane. I don't want people that I know personally to go on my YouTube, click on it, and have to hear me yelling at the top of my lungs about why I want to strap a C4 to my family members and then blow them up into 30 separate pieces. Now that I think about it though, most people who do actually know me know that I'm a psychopath. Anyway, so we go to this Christmas party that all of my family members are going to be at, and now I don't know my dad's side of the family as well as I do my mom's side of the family, and a majority of the people in my dad's side of the family are basically the equivalent of a random stranger you pass by on the sidewalk. Like, I do not know a lot of people in my dad's side of the family, and this already is a cause for concern because the last thing I want to do on Christmas is spend time with literal fucking strangers whom I don't give a fuck about. Like, the idea that you have to hang out with people of your family members on certain holidays, even though you basically only know the other person's last name, is goddamn absurd. I want to spend Christmas with people that I actually like, not with my long-lost Uncle Ron, who has been unemployed for the last 5 years and solely comes to these Christmas parties to receive presents from other members of the family. I'm sorry, Uncle Ron. Get a fucking job, you lazy fuck, and then I might love you. And also, I never really know how many people from my dad's side of the family are going to show up to these holiday events because, you know, most of the people in my dad's side of the family are clinically fucking insane, and it's always a toss-up to see who comes to these parties and who is probably passed out drunk in the middle of an alley in Arkansas, or who is locked up in a literal mental asylum. But anyways, okay, I show up to this Christmas party, and fortunately or unfortunately, I showed up a little bit early, and the only people at the party were my dad and my grandma. And if it just stayed that way, if it just stayed me, my dad, and my grandma, I would have been perfectly fine. And for the first like 30 minutes, it was really chill, and I thought, you know, maybe no one from my dad's side of the family was going to show up because all of the family members were either locked up or passed out in a garbage dumpster. But then I sensed something. I felt it. You see, I felt the presence of middle-aged drug and alcohol addicts. All of a sudden, I took one sniff and I could just smell my family members about to walk in the door because, you see, my family has a very distinct smell, and that smell is a combination of heroin mixed with whiskey. You see, my family has done so many drugs in their lifetime and have taken so many shots of whiskey in their lifetime that a simple shower or a simple brushing of their teeth and even using mouthwash isn't going to fix that. You see, they have passed out drunk in the middle of an alleyway so much that no matter what they do now, they permanently smell like a homeless person's 4-day-old dried up piss. And if you're really not believing me when I say how clinically insane and fucked up my family is right now, let me run through the people that showed up to this party from my family, okay? First off, and this is a great example of just the common and average member of my family. So first off, you have my uncle. Now, this man, no cap, and I cannot lie about this, for a period of time was actually homeless. And when I say homeless, I don't mean like he was sleeping on like a friend's couch or, you know, sleeping in his car or something like that. No. You see, this man was sleeping on the fucking streets of Los Angeles. Now, you would think, I hope you would think, that that would already be bad enough, right? Like, it's already pretty crazy that this man was homeless, you know, when he has a family who loves him, could contact at any time, but he just decided to be fucking homeless. But no, you see, that's not even the tip of the iceberg, because not only was this man fucking homeless, he somehow believes and tells me every time that I see him that not only was he abducted by aliens, but that these aliens who abducted him shoved a metal probe up his asshole, and no matter what he does or how hard he tries, he can never get this metal probe out of his asshole. I swear to God, how could I even make this fucking shit up? I will be at a family dinner, minding my own business, trying to enjoy like the chicken sandwich that I've been eating for dinner or whatever I'm eating for dinner. And this motherfucker will see that I'm just trying to eat my chicken sandwich, and he will then decide to come up to me in the middle of a family dinner and be like, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, I can't get this probe out of my asshole. No matter how hard I want to get this probe, this metal probe out of my asshole, I can't get it out. Please help me. And the worst part about him telling me this, you see, the worst part is, what the fuck do I respond back to him? Do I encourage him? Do I be like, yeah, man, you can do it. You can get that probe out of your asshole, man. I believe in you. Like, do I give him advice on how to get a metal probe out of someone's fucking rectum? Do I tell him to, like, you know, try and use like lube or something and like get like a couple fingers up there to really get this metal probe out of his asshole? Or do I not encourage him, and do I just like, you know, try and tell him the truth? And, you know, the truth being that one time while he was on a drug trip in the middle of an alleyway, a fellow homeless man fucked him in the asshole. I mean, how would you respond to your uncle telling you that an alien abducted him and shoved a metal probe up his asshole while your 5-year-old cousin is sitting down and eating food right next to you? Anyways, okay, let's transition to another member of my family. Let's transition to my cousin. Now, my cousin doesn't have that many things wrong with him particularly, you know. He's pretty much a normal person, except for the fact, and I mean, I don't even know if I would consider this something wrong with him. I mean, I guess this is like technically wrong with him or whatever, but the only thing that, like, you know, technically is wrong with him is that he's a diagnosed schizophrenic. And, you know, I don't know if I would classify, you know, being a diagnose schizophrenic an issue with the person, but that's just the only thing wrong with him. You know what the worst part about this is, though? Even though my cousin is a diagnosed schizophrenic and obviously has a plethora of fucking issues wrong with him, somehow, some way, my cousin, who is a diagnosed schizophrenic, who literally at times believes that he's an astronaut on fucking Mars, is one of the more normal people in my family. Yes, the motherfucker who at times when we are sitting down eating food together as a family believes that he was an astronaut sent by NASA to go to Mars, somehow is one of the more normal people in my fucking family. Right, okay, I could literally spend the next 5 days talking about each and every member of my family and why the next one is more clinically insane than the last one, but let's just get into my family storming my grandma's house like she was the last supplier of heroin and crack cocaine in existence. In 1 second, I went from chillin', having a good time with my dad and grandma, to the door almost being broken down by my alien abducted uncle, and then having to see a group of about 10 to 15 drug and alcohol addicts storm my grandma's house like it was the goddamn beaches of Normandy on D-Day. And you see, the reason why my family members were so eager to get into my grandma's house was because every year for Christmas we do this thing called White Elephant. Now, if you've never heard of White Elephant, good. It means that you have a family who actually loves and deeply cares about each other. And you don't have a family full of desperate, homeless people who are willing to fight each other over a $15 gift card to Nike. White Elephant is basically this game where each and every person brings a gift to a party, and then at this party, each and every person gets a random number, and that number determines what order you pick the gifts in. So if I got number 1, I would be able to choose any present I wanted to. Now, you can't see what's actually in the presents when you choose them because, you know, most of the time they're wrapped. But here's where this game gets crazy, and here's where my family really takes full advantage of White Elephant. So let's say that the person who got number 1 chose a random gift, and they ended up getting like a new phone or like something crazy like that. Now, if I was the person who drew the number 2 and I was gonna go second, I would now have the option of either stealing that iPhone that person just got out of that present, or I could just choose another random gift from the pile. And the game ends when every single present in the pile has been opened. That was a brief summary of the game, and I'm sure some of you have played this game before, and I'm sure some of you right now may be thinking to yourself, you know,
Oh, this game isn't that bad. You know, I play this game with my family or my group of friends, and it's fun when I play it.
but if you're thinking that right now, I want you to imagine this game, but instead of the normal participants that you play with, you know, your family or your friends, I want you to imagine having to play this game with my family. People who have claimed to be abducted by aliens, people who are diagnosed schizophrenic, people who are unemployed, people who are so desperate for a $15 Nike gift card they are willing to lay down their life for it. And so my family storms my grandmother's house like it was Normandy in 1944 because they want to play this game so fucking badly. They want to just come and get this $15 Nike gift card and then go back to the drug and alcohol infested alleyway that they just woke up from an hour ago. You may be thinking after I just said that the gifts that my family members are going to bring are obviously not going to be very good, and you're right. But the thing is that there's like 2 or 3 people in my family every year that actually do bring good gifts. And so everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone, at least all of the heroin and crack cocaine and alcohol addicts are willing to die for those good gifts. But it is also extremely unlikely and extremely hard to attain these gifts because most of the gifts that my family brings are gifts you would expect out of a heroin addict. For example, 2 years ago, we played White Elephant, and I fuck you not. I came with a $30 AMC gift card that was wrapped, and I left White Elephant with an opened 8 slices of cheddar cheese. The cheese wasn't even cold. It was fucking warm. I mean, the only explanation for why someone brought an opened 8 slices of cheddar cheese is that one of my family members were leaving and completely forgot about White Elephant Elephant saw an opened packet of cheddar cheese on the kitchen counter that they had forgot to put in their fridge, and decided to then bring that and put it in some kind of bag and try to pass it on as an actual gift. And playing White Elephant with my family would already have been torture enough, but as I've said, I told my dad about my YouTube channel. So when these degenerate members of my family come through my grandma's door, the first thing my father decides to do is to go up to each and every single one of these family members and tell them about my YouTube channel. Now, when I was going over the description of my schizophrenic cousin, I left out a very important detail, because you see, not only is my cousin an astronaut who was sent by NASA to visit the planet Mars, he also deep down believes in his bones that he is a rapper, the likes of which is better than Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, and Lil Wayne all combined. He's actually even recorded some songs, and I've had the, absolute pleasure and privilege of hearing some of these songs. And one of the lyrics that I heard my schizophrenic cousin say, and one of the lyrics that I honestly will never forget, is this lyric right here. In one of his songs, and I'm not even going to, try to say this on beat or on rhythm or anything like that, because how I say it is exactly how my schizophrenic cousin said it. Absolutely not on the beat, and absolutely no timing or flow at all. And here is the lyric that will really stick with me my entire life. I live in Mars. Good thing there's no Mexicans here. Now, I'm not a medically licensed doctor, so I'm not sure if racism is a symptom of schizophrenia, or if, the schizophrenia contributes to his racist beliefs. But I know one thing for sure, and that one thing is that my cousin does not like Mexicans, and that most of the raps that he produces, there's at least, 5 or 6 bars, talking about the Mexican culture and tradition in a net negative way. So yes, my cousin is a Mars living rapper who also has racist beliefs towards Mexicans. Now, to get back to the story, my dad is telling these, low-life degenerates who make up my family about my YouTube channel, and my barely functioning racist schizophrenic cousin hears this and immediately comes up to me. And my cousin comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, can you give me a shout out on your YouTube channel?" And I'm sitting there looking at this clearly schizophrenic person who has no idea where he is, and I'm like, and I mean, he's schizophrenic, so he doesn't realize that I'm uncomfortable and don't want to give him a shout out on my YouTube channel. So he just continues, and he's like, "Actually, instead of shout out, can you film and record a music video for me and then upload it to your channel, please?" And I mean, I'm standing there looking into the eyes of my cousin, and I'm like, what the fuck? This man not only wants me to record a music video, but then he wants to post it to my YouTube channel. But at the same time, he's schizophrenic, so I can't be mean to him, because there's a high possibility that if I do be mean to him, he could possibly snap and fucking murder me. And so I just kind of look at him and I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And I was thinking that he would probably just end up forgetting this, because he has no brain function at all. I was just thinking that he would forget about it and go back to building a Mexican-free society on Mars. But then something awful happened. After I said, okay, yeah, sure, he then screamed at the top of his lungs for his mom to come over. And then when she came over, he was like, "Hey mom, cousin Dane said that he would film a music video for me and then post and upload that video to his YouTube channel." The mom is looking at me like I'm goddamn Robert Downey Jr. and I just made some Make-A-Wish kid's dream come true. And so at this point, I had no option other than to just be like, yeah, I'll film your music video about, the how Mexicans shouldn't be allowed on Mars. And so I'm apologizing in advance right now. If you ever come to my channel and you see a music video on my channel, no, I have not decided to become a rapper, and no, I also do not share the same viewpoints towards Mexicans. But anyways, as I was trying to, slowly back away from my cousin so that he wouldn't murder me because he's schizophrenic, one of my other family members, 5 minutes into coming to my grandmother's house, decided that he was going to yell at the top of his lungs, "Can we fucking start White Elephant already? God damn, this is fucking bullshit. I want to go home." And so, in order to not start a homeless, drug-addicted uprising, everyone made their way in a circle and we all drew our numbers. Now, you would think that the fighting over the $15 Nike gift card wouldn't start until the actual game began, but you're wrong, because that's not the case. The fighting in my family in White Elephant somehow begins when we are choosing our numbers for the game. You see, what we usually do is we usually write down the numbers on little slips of paper, and then we put those numbers in a hat and shuffle the hat a little bit, and then each person chooses one of the slips of paper. Now, it's pretty much impossible to cheat because not only do we shuffle the hat around a little bit, but the person who chooses is fucking blindfolded. So it's literally impossible to cheat. Then again, I'm not quite sure how far some members of my family are willing to go to receive a $5 or $10 gift card to In-N-Out or Nike. And so the main reason we put these blindfolds on people is to stop certain members of my family from claiming that other members of my family have indeed cheated, because believe me, this has happened multiple times. You see, it's better to be one of the last people to go in the game, and so if certain members of my family don't get the exact last spot, there is hell to pay. For example, we were passing around the numbers and my Uncle Rick happened to get the number 3 spot. Now, in my Uncle Rick's mind, this is unacceptable. You see, the idea that in a random draw, he would get the number 3 spot and not exactly the last spot like he wanted is absolutely unfathomable to him. Somehow, being a heroin addict at the age of 55 isn't unfathomable to him, but not getting the last spot in this game somehow is unfathomable to him. And so, when he sees that he gets the number 3 spot, he is fucking livid. And when he looks down at his paper and sees what position he's going in, he looks right at my Uncle Jimmy, who was the one who wrote down the numbers on the pieces of paper, and proceeds to absolutely berate this man. Now, among the insults Uncle Rick threw at Uncle Jimmy, the one that really sticks with me the most is that when he said to my Uncle Jimmy that his wife was not only a whore that deserved to be eaten alive by pigs, but also that his wife had indeed slept with Uncle Rick. So I'm not really sure if that insult, hurts Uncle Rick more than it hurts Uncle Jimmy, but I'm not gonna ask. Now, we eventually got Uncle Rick to calm down with a little thing I like to call making him go outside and smoke a joint. But anyways, we start the game and I get some mid number, 8 or 9. I mean, I don't really care because, I can afford to buy my own food and clothes. But the game starts, and like I said, it's extremely hard to pick up the good presents. And so the first couple presents go by, a used flannel here and off-brand M&M candies here. And someone even got a used pair of shoes. No, I did not speak incorrectly. It was not a pair of shoes. It was one used pair of shoe. It was just one singular used shoe. Now, this present wasn't only a used shoe, because in this used shoe, there was pieces of candy, probably not wrapped, sprinkled throughout the inside of the used shoe. Honestly, I do not know which is worse, getting just one shoe shoe that has been used for probably around like 15 years, or getting candy that probably isn't even wrapped inside of this used shoe. But anyways, the game progresses and eventually the first decent gift is found. And now when I say decent gift, I don't want you to think like this gift is some like 85 flat screen TV. Okay, when I say decent gift, what I'm basically trying to say is one free movie ticket to like an AMC theater. And I know that might not sound like an absolutely amazing present to you, but if you look at it from the eyes of someone who sleeps in a fucking alleyway filled with piss and shit every night, a trip to AMC theaters is basically the equivalent of going to the Grand Floridian in Florida. And so my poor 5-year-old cousin gets this AMC gift ticket, okay? And you know, you would think that in a family, you know, the 5-year-old cousin getting a gift and stealing that gift from, you know, a 5-year-old child should be and probably is off limits. But in my family, that is a green light. And so the very next person that gets to go is Uncle Jimmy. Now, Uncle Jimmy had just finished lecturing Uncle Rick for about half an hour on why he needed to be more mature and why he needs to not take White Elephant so seriously, and he's saying stuff like White Elephant is a children's game and Uncle Rick needs to get a grip and get a hold of his life so that he doesn't throw a tantrum for getting a bad number in a game. Now, all of that being said, and what I'm trying to say here is that Uncle Jimmy, without any hesitation or remorse for any human life, immediately stole my 5-year-old cousin's AMC gift ticket. And of course, my 5-year-old cousin, being a little pussy bitch, instantly starts crying. And the best part about all of this is my Uncle Jimmy steals this 5-year-old child's AMC ticket, and this kid is just bawling his eyes out, and Uncle Jimmy proceeds to look at this kid's mother, who he had just stole a movie ticket from, and say, "Oh, can you tell it to stop crying? It's just a game. Jesus fucking Christ." Now, I'm the next person to go after Uncle Jimmy just crushed the hopes and dreams of this 5-year-old child, and so I had the option of either stealing that AMC ticket or just picking another random gift out of the pile. And so when it was my turn to pick a gift or steal my Uncle Jimmy's gift, Uncle Jimmy proceeded to look at me unlike any other creature has ever looked at me in my entire life. In the half second I spent looking at his eyes, I could see exactly what he was thinking. And what he was thinking was that if I was going to make that decision to steal his AMC ticket, he then, in turn, was going to, murder me. But, you know, he wasn't just going to murder me, he was going to, slowly torture me for the next 40 years of my life. I'm talking the level of torture of, like, going layer by layer to start tearing the skin from my body until I eventually look like a 3-month-old fetus. And so after looking into the eyes of this potential murderer, I decided that instead of being tortured for the next 40 years of my life until my inevitable death, I decided that I was just going to go pick a random present from the pile. And now, I came with a $20 Adidas gift card, and so I expected to at least, you know, get my value back, at least get $20 in return, but somehow, the gift that I received was worse than the already opened 8 slices of cheddar cheese I got 2 years ago. The gift I received was a pair of used earbuds that airlines give you as complimentary when you ride on their airplanes. Now, I opened this gift while I had my AirPods in, and the craziest part about this gift, and what really blew me away about this gift, is that there is no way that that person who gave me this gift, and most of the people in my family for that sake, have the money to go on a plane. And so I am not entirely sure how a member of my family could get a pair of complimentary earbuds that planes give out. And what I came up with, and the conclusion I came to, and really the only explanation, is that the family member who gifted me these earbuds happened to find these earbuds when they were rummaging the trash for food. And some of you may be like, oh, well, that's a way better gift than the 8 slices of cheddar cheese you got last time. And the reason I beg to differ is because these earbuds not only started its life through some passenger taking a trip on Southwest Airlines, but then these earbuds somehow had to arrive in a dumpster in Los Angeles, and then one of my family members had to rummage the trash for these earbuds. And now the real shocker, and what I'm really crazy about right now, is that these earbuds that were so used and so worn out, probably by my family member after they rummaged the trash to find these earbuds, that this family member who lives in a fucking alleyway full of piss and shit no longer wanted them anymore. For a member of my family to no longer want an item, something had to have happened to that item. Anyways, the game continues. There's fights breaking out left and right, people threatening to stab, kill, rape, and murder other people of my family. But then, possibly the greatest thing I have ever seen and heard in my entire life, and the whole reason I'm telling this story happened. So there's still 2 people who need to go in White Elephant and choose their presents, and the only people left are my uncle, who has a metal probe shoved up his asshole, and my grandma. And so my grandma was up first, and she goes, and you know, she's not the kind of person who's gonna go steal another person's gift, and so she chooses to get a random gift out of the pile, and by sheer luck and coincidence, she happened to pick the best gift in the entire circle, that being a $45 gift card to Applebee's. And no matter how fucked up my family is, okay, no matter how many drugs they're on, no matter how much booze they've drank that day, no one ever gets mad at my grandma. I mean, she's just an extremely sweet lady, and it's really hard to get mad at her. And so I can tell that everyone in my family is just livid, and their blood is boiling that this woman got their present, the one that they wanted, you know, the present that should have gone to them so that they could have one meal at the most subpar and basic restaurant ever created. And everyone is pissed, but no one is saying anything because my grandma was the one who picked up the gift. And so there's no fighting or arguing or yelling or anything like that, and thus there's only one more person who needs to go for White Elephant. One more person who needs to go, and then I can leave and not see these family members again for another hopeful year, if not Thanksgiving. And I mean, everyone just expected my uncle to go and pick up the final gift and, you know, not steal a $45 gift card from my 85-year-old grandmother. But in a bizarre turn of events that I'm sure you probably have already predicted, my uncle got up, walked like he had a 12-inch metal probe up his asshole, picked up the $45 Applebee gift card, and walked right back to his seat without saying a word. And this action caused all of the members of my family to pretty much have their jaws drop. And my aunt, who was pretty much the only normal person in my entire family, looks at my uncle and is like, "Why did you just steal her present?" And my uncle may have gave the greatest answer I have ever heard in my entire life. He looked at my aunt dead in the face and said, "Well, I mean, she's 85. She's gonna die soon. I mean, I don't want it to go to waste." And the greatest part about that answer was that normally in a normal functioning family, if someone said that, there would be outrage. And to my surprise, there was outrage in my family, but the outrage came from almost every single member of my entire family agreeing with my uncle and telling my aunt that he had every right to steal an 85-year-old woman's gift card to Applebee's. Because, quote, "You can't go to Applebee's if you're fucking dead." Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of Christmas with my family. I hope you enjoyed this loving and heartfelt story, and if you only take one thing away from this story, take this. If ever there's ever a point in your life that you find yourself homeless and recently abducted by aliens who shoved a metal probe up your asshole, you have every right to steal an 85-year-old woman's $45 gift card to Applebee's. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.